Hey, what's going on, guys? Brian from Zombie Guitar here. Here in this lesson I wanted to point out how you can go about adding color tones to your minor pentatonic scale by using the Dorian mode. Okay, so before I get started, I always like to point out that if you take a look below this video in the description, you will find links to number one, my lead guitar improv course, which is something that I've been working on for about 2 years now. I'm constantly adding more material to it. Essentially, it teaches you everything you need to know about how to improvise using the entire neck of the guitar, scales, modes, arpeggios, chord tone targeting, scale combining, all kinds of stuff like that. So, you know, I have a couple demo videos. If you click the link to that, you can check out the demo videos and see if that's something you're interested in. Also, any and all relevant lessons that pertain to this particular lesson, you will also find in the description. So, if I happen to move too quickly about any topics or anything that you don't understand, see if there's a relevant lesson available below, okay? So, with that said, essentially what we're doing here is we're basically scale combining the minor pentatonic with the Dorian mode, alright? So, the rhythm progression that I was improvising over in the beginning was just simply a 1-4-5 progression in the key of A. Okay, so I was using just power chords, or the rhythm section was essentially just using power chords. So you have a 12 bar blues in A that goes something like this. Okay, so that's 12 bar blues in A. And you know, it's just power chords, and power chords are neither major nor minor. Therefore, you can either play minor stuff over top of that progression, or you can play major stuff. Okay, you could either start out by playing the A minor pentatonic or the A major pentatonic. For this particular lesson, I started out using the A minor pentatonic. So, when you're using the minor pentatonic, you can always combine with the Dorian mode. All right. You hear Led Zeppelin doing this all the time. Lots of Led Zeppelin songs. Joe Bonamassa, if you're into Joe Bonamassa, phenomenal guitar player. Dave Gilmour does it a lot. A lot of times when you hear minor pentatonic stuff being used, and you hear those extra added color tones in there, you can more often than not assume that it's coming from the Dorian mode. Okay, so a lot of times when people are new to learning theory, and they hear modes, they hear the word modes, like Dorian mode or Mixolydian mode or something like that, they tend to get intimidated because there's a lot of confusion on the internet. If you read forums, or if you try and go on different websites and whatnot, modes can be an intimidating thing because there's that whole relationship to a particular major scale and all that stuff. So while that's useful to understand in theory, it's not really very practical. In my opinion, and the way that I teach modes is it's best to take modes and just treat them as their own unique scale, okay? Just like the minor scale is a scale, the major scale is a scale, the harmonic minor scale is a scale, the melodic minor scale is a scale. You can also say that the Dorian mode is a scale, the Mixolydian mode is a scale, okay? Just treat them all as their own unique scales, and you'll get better use out of them as far as practicality goes, okay? So basically when we were soloing over that 1-4-5 progression in the key of A, like I said, you can either play the A minor pentatonic over top of that to establish a minor type of tonality, or you can play the A major pentatonic over that to establish a major type of tonality. For the purpose of this lesson, we're doing a minor pentatonic scale to establish a minor tonality, and then we're just adding some extra notes to it to make the Dorian mode, okay? So the Dorian mode is just a couple more notes than that of the minor pentatonic scale. So what you see here on the screen is your A minor pentatonic scale. So you can play this scale over all of the chords, and every single note in the scale is going to work over all of the chords, okay? So you can just try that out. If you have a looping pedal or some kind of backing track, you can go. So I was just randomly just playing the A minor pentatonic scale over that progression, the 1-4-5 progression in A, and all the notes worked. That's the A minor pentatonic. So you can go ahead and you can just add in some extra notes, and now you have your A Dorian mode, okay? So it's actually just 2 extra notes added to the minor pentatonic scale, and then you are left with the A Dorian mode. Your root of the scale is still A, okay? It's just a new scale, okay? Just consider this to be a new scale, okay? You're adding in your color notes. That's the whole point of this lesson, okay? So you just, that way if you get stuck in that pentatonic type of playing and you want to hear that extra flavor and stuff that, you hear guys like Jimmy Page and Joe Bonamassa and all those guys doing, you can do that and you'll hear how they're getting their sounds a lot of the times, okay? So let's just go ahead and just run up and down the Dorian mode over top of this progression and hear how that sounds. So same exact progression, you see how it sounded significantly different, okay? So all I did was add 2 additional notes, spread out over 2 octaves, of course, but the Dorian mode is just 2 additional notes from that of the minor pentatonic scale, okay? So, just treat it as its own individual scale. Okay, so since we established our tonality as being minor as opposed to major, starting out with the A minor pentatonic scale rather than the A major pentatonic scale, since we're trying to add color tones to the pentatonic scale, we're generally left with 3 options, okay? So you could either go with the Dorian mode, you could go with the Aeolian mode, otherwise known as just the natural minor scale, or you could go with the Phrygian mode. Alright, so you can try all 3 if you want over this 1-4-5 progression, and I'll just give you an example of what the Aeolian mode would sound like over top of it, and what the Phrygian mode would sound like over top of it, all with the root A, of course. And you're going to see that the other 2 just don't really sound too good. Phrygian and Aeolian don't really sound too good in a blues type scenario. That's not to say that it can't be done, and it never has been done before, but more often than not, if you're listening to like classic rock type stuff, and they're soloing over a 12-bar blues progression, or any type of bluesy progression, 16-bar blues or whatnot, it's usually the Dorian mode that they use to get their color tones from. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to play the A natural minor, otherwise known as the A Aeolian over top of this progression, and then I'm going to do the A Phrygian, and you're going to see it just doesn't really work. Okay, so here's the A Aeolian mode. Okay, so I just ran up and down the scale just like I did with the Dorian mode, but instead I did the A natural minor scale, and it just doesn't really work. Okay, the only difference between the A natural minor scale and the Dorian mode is the 6th degree. Okay, so the Dorian mode has a raised 6th, or a major 6th. The natural minor has a minor 6th or flattened 6th, and again, more about that in the links in the description. Check out the relevant lessons to all that stuff. But just that one note difference makes it not really work over a 12-bar blues progression. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and add color tones, you want to be thinking A Dorian and not so much A Aeolian or A natural minor. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you how the A Phrygian would sound. Okay, because that would be your other option if you wanted to add to the pentatonic scale. So here's your A Phrygian mode. Okay, it does have an interesting sound. It sounds, exotic, as Phrygian tends to sound, but it just kind of just doesn't work for what you're trying to get, what you're trying to achieve out of your bluesy type of playing. Okay, if you're trying to sound like Jimmy Page, you're trying to mimic some of Jimmy Page's solos, or trying to get the sounds that he's getting, Dorian mode is usually what he's using. Okay, so you can go ahead and experiment with all the different scales over top of a 1-4-5 progression, but in my opinion, I think the Dorian sounds best. Okay, so of course that's up to you to decide on your own, but that's just my opinion. All right, so that's going to be it for this lesson. Like I said, check out the links in the description. I put all of the relevant lessons that would pertain to this lesson in the description, and also check out the demo video to my improv course and see if that's something that you're interested in. And that's it for today. I'll see you next time.